I am 81 years old. I have never met the real me. For 8 decades, I have been performing a character I created when I was 12 years old, a character designed to be acceptable, likable, successful, and safe. The real person underneath the performance has been buried so deep for so long that I am not sure she still exists. My name is Barbara. At least, that is the name of the character I have been playing. I am sitting in a house that belongs to someone I pretended to be, surrounded by achievements earned by someone I never was, mourning relationships with people who never actually knew me because I never let them. Before I die, before this performance finally ends, I need to tell you what it costs to live your entire life as someone else. What happens when you spend so many decades wearing a mask that you forget there was ever a face underneath it? You think being fake means lying about big things. You think it means pretending to have money you do not have or achievements you did not earn. You think fake people are obviously fake, that authenticity is simple, that being real just means telling the truth. You are wrong. Let me tell you how the performance began. I was 12 years old in 1955, the middle child in a family that valued achievement above everything else. My older sister was the pretty one, the one who got attention for her appearance and charm. My younger brother was the athletic one, the one who got attention for his talents and trophies. I was the smart one, but being smart was not enough to get the kind of attention and approval I craved. Being smart made me useful for helping with homework and explaining things, but it did not make me loved the way being pretty made my sister loved, or being athletic made my brother loved. So I started adding things to smart. I became smart and funny, then smart and funny and helpful, then smart and funny and helpful and agreeable. I kept adding characteristics that I thought would make people like me more, that would make me worthy of the attention and affection that seemed to come naturally to my siblings. By the time I was 16, I had created a version of myself that was optimized for other people's approval. This version was always cheerful, always accommodating, always interested in what other people wanted to talk about, always ready to help with whatever anyone needed. This version never disagreed with anyone about anything important. This version never had bad days or complicated emotions or needs that might inconvenience other people. This version was the perfect friend, the perfect student, the perfect daughter. The problem was that this version was not me. This version was a carefully constructed performance based on what I thought people wanted from me, rather than on what I actually felt, thought, or needed. But the performance worked so well that I kept doing it. People liked the fake Barbara. They found her charming and helpful and easy to be around. Teachers praised her for being such a good student. Parents praised her for being such a thoughtful daughter. Friends relied on her to always be positive and supportive. The real Barbara, the one with complicated emotions and strong opinions and needs of her own, got pushed deeper and deeper underground because she was not as successful at getting love and approval as the fake Barbara was. By the time I went to college in 1961, I had been performing the fake Barbara for so long that I could do it automatically. I chose classes that the fake Barbara would excel in, rather than classes the real Barbara might find interesting. I joined activities that would look good on the fake Barbara's resume, rather than activities the real Barbara might actually enjoy. I dated boys who were impressed by the fake Barbara's cheerfulness and agreeableness, rather than boys who might appreciate the real Barbara's complexity and depth. I chose a major that would lead to a respectable career for the fake Barbara, rather than following any genuine passion or interest that the real Barbara might have had. When I met my future husband Richard in 1963, he fell in love with the fake Barbara, the Barbara who never complained, never disagreed, never needed anything he was not already offering, the Barbara who was perfectly content to support his dreams and goals without having any inconvenient dreams or goals of her own. Richard was a good man, but he was a good man who loved someone who did not exist. He married the fake Barbara in 1965, and for the next 43 years until he died in 2008, I had to keep being her so that he would continue to love me. The fake Barbara was the perfect wife. She never complained when Richard worked late or went out with friends without her. She never disagreed with his decisions about money or career moves or where to live. She was always interested in his hobbies and always supportive of his goals, even when those goals required sacrifices from her that she did not want to make. The real Barbara had opinions about these things. The real Barbara sometimes resented Richard's assumption that his career was more important than hers, that his interests mattered more than hers, that his needs took precedence over hers. But the real Barbara had been buried for so long that I was not even sure what her opinions were anymore. I had spent so much time being agreeable, that I had lost track of what I actually agreed with and what I just pretended to agree with to keep the peace. When our children were born, David in 1968 and Sarah in 1971, I became the fake Barbara mother. The mother who never lost her temper, never felt overwhelmed, never resented the constant demands of child rearing. The mother who always put her children's needs first and never seemed to have any needs of her own. The real Barbara sometimes felt trapped and exhausted by motherhood. The real Barbara sometimes wanted to pursue her own interests instead of spending every moment focused on her children's needs. The real Barbara sometimes felt angry and resentful about how much of herself she was expected to sacrifice for her family. But the fake Barbara mother was so much more lovable than the real Barbara mother would have been. The fake Barbara mother never made anyone feel guilty for needing her attention or taking up her time. She never made her children feel like they were a burden or her husband feel like he was not doing enough to help. So I kept being the fake Barbara mother, and my children grew up thinking they had a mother who was completely selfless and endlessly patient, when really they had a mother who was so afraid of being disliked that she could not be honest about her own humanity. When I went back to work part-time in 1975, I became the fake Barbara employee. The employee who never said no to additional responsibilities, who never complained about unreasonable deadlines, who never stood up for herself when she was passed over for promotions or asked to work for less than she was worth. The real Barbara had ambitions and goals and a sense of her own value. The real Barbara wanted recognition for her contributions and compensation that reflected her worth. The real Barbara sometimes felt angry when she was taken advantage of or treated unfairly, but the fake Barbara employee was so much easier to work with than the real Barbara employee would have been. The fake Barbara employee never made waves or created conflict or demanded anything that might make other people uncomfortable. So I spent 30 years being the fake Barbara employee, watching less qualified but more assertive people get the promotions and recognition that I wanted, but was too afraid to ask for because asking might make people like me less. The most exhausting part of the performance was keeping track of what the fake Barbara was supposed to think and feel about everything. I had to remember to be enthusiastic about things I did not care about and to hide my enthusiasm for things that might not fit the fake Barbara's image. I had to remember what opinions the fake Barbara was supposed to have about politics and religion and social issues, opinions that were carefully chosen to be as inoffensive as possible rather than to reflect what I actually believed. I had to remember what the fake Barbara's interests and hobbies were supposed to be. Interests that were chosen because they made her seem well-rounded and cultured rather than because they brought me any real joy or satisfaction. Living as a fake person means never being able to relax, never being able to just react naturally to anything, never being able to express a genuine emotion without first calculating whether that emotion fits the character you are supposed to be playing. It means being constantly vigilant about maintaining consistency in your performance, constantly worried that someone might notice a crack in the facade and discover that you are not who you pretend to be. After Richard died in 2008, I had the opportunity for the first time in my adult life to stop performing and figure out who I actually was underneath the character I had been playing for 50 years. But I discovered something terrifying. I had no idea who the real Barbara was anymore. I had been performing for so long that I could not tell which thoughts and feelings were genuinely mine and which were part of the character I had created. I did not know what I actually liked to do for fun because the fake Barbara's hobbies had been chosen for image rather than enjoyment. I did not know what I actually believed about important issues because the fake Barbara's opinions had been chosen for acceptability rather than conviction. I did not even know what kind of food I preferred or what kind of music I enjoyed or what kind of books interested me because I had spent 50 years choosing these things based on what the fake Barbara would choose rather than on my own authentic preferences. When people asked me what I wanted to do with my newfound freedom, I literally could not answer. The fake Barbara had never been allowed to want anything that might conflict with what other people wanted, so the capacity for wanting had been systematically trained out of me. When people asked me how I was feeling about Richard's death, I could not give them an honest answer because I was not sure which emotions were genuine grief and which were the emotions the fake Barbara was supposed to feel about losing the husband she had supposedly loved so completely. The truth was that I mourned Richard deeply, but not necessarily for the reasons people expected. I mourned him because he was a good man who had loved me as much as he was capable of loving someone he never actually knew. I mourned the 43 years we could have had together if I had been brave enough to let him know the real me. But I also felt a strange sense of relief when Richard died, and that relief made me feel guilty because it did not fit with how the fake Barbara widow was supposed to feel. The relief came from finally being free from the exhausting work of maintaining a performance for someone who lived with me every day and knew me better than anyone else, but still did not actually know me at all. When my children came to help me sort through Richard's things and plan for my future, they kept talking about how strong I was being, how well I was handling everything, how proud they were of how gracefully I was dealing with my loss. But I was not being strong or graceful. I was just continuing the performance I had been giving for their entire lives, the performance of a woman who never fell apart or needed help or struggled with anything too difficult for other people to handle. My children had never seen me be weak or needy or overwhelmed because the fake Barbara mother never allowed herself to be any of those things. They thought they knew me well because they had lived with me their whole lives, but really they knew the character I had been playing, not the person I actually was. When David suggested that I might want to move to a retirement community where I could make new friends and stay active, I realized that I had no idea how to make genuine friends as an elderly woman because I had never made genuine friends at any age. All of my relationships had been based on the fake Barbara's carefully crafted personality. People liked me because I was agreeable and helpful and easy to be around, not because of anything authentic or unique about who I really was. The prospect of starting over socially in my 70s was terrifying because it would mean either continuing the fake Barbara performance with new people or risking the possibility that the real Barbara might not be likable enough to attract any friends at all. I chose to continue the performance because it felt safer than risking rejection of my authentic self. So even now, at 81, I am still playing the fake Barbara with the other residents here, still being cheerful and agreeable and helpful, still hiding any emotions or opinions that might make me less popular. The tragedy is that I have spent 81 years being someone that other people liked, while never finding out if anyone could love the person I actually am. I have been so afraid of being rejected for my authentic self that I never gave anyone the chance to accept me as I really am. I have also never given myself the chance to find out what my authentic self is capable of. I do not know what I could have achieved if I had pursued goals that were genuinely mine instead of goals that fit the fake Barbara's image. I do not know what kind of relationships I could have built if I'd been honest about my needs and feelings instead of hiding them to maintain my performance. I do not know what my life could have been if I had been brave enough to be real instead of safe enough to be fake. The most painful part is realizing that all the love and approval I worked so hard to earn was never actually for me. People loved the fake Barbara, but the fake Barbara was not real, so the love was not real either. Richard loved someone who did not exist. My children love someone who is largely a fiction. My friends appreciate someone who is a carefully constructed character, rather than an authentic person. All of that love and appreciation that I sacrificed so much to earn was based on a lie, which means it was never actually mine to begin with. I am 81 years old and I have never been known. I have never been seen for who I actually am. I have never been loved for my authentic self because I have never shown my authentic self to anyone, including myself. Young people who are building your identities, choosing your careers, forming your relationships, please do not make my mistake. Do not spend your lives performing a character designed to be acceptable, rather than being a person who is real. Real people are not always likable. Real people have bad days and complicated emotions and needs that sometimes inconvenience other people. Real people disagree and argue and make mistakes and have flaws that cannot be hidden or fixed. But real people can also be truly known and genuinely loved. Real people can build authentic relationships based on who they actually are rather than on who they pretend to be. It is better to be disliked for who you are than to be loved for who you are not. It is better to have fewer relationships that are genuine than many relationships that are based on a performance. It is better to risk rejection of your authentic self than to guarantee acceptance of a fake version that can never truly satisfy you because it is not actually you. I spent 81 years being safe and acceptable and liked by people who never knew me. I can never get those years back. I can never find out who the real Barbara could have become if she had been allowed to exist and grow and make mistakes and learn from them. But you still have time to be real. You still have time to figure out who you actually are underneath any performance you might be giving. You still have time to risk being authentic instead of guaranteed being acceptable. Stop performing and start being. Stop trying to be who other people want you to be and start figuring out who you actually are. Because the alternative is this: being 81 years old and realizing you have lived an entire lifetime as someone else, that you wasted decades being perfectly acceptable instead of imperfectly real. I am tired now. Tired of performing. Tired of being fake. Tired of being someone I am not. For whatever time I have left, I am going to try to find the real Barbara underneath all the layers of performance. I am going to try to figure out who she is and what she wants and what she believes, even if it is too late for that knowledge to matter to anyone but me. Be real, be flawed, be authentic, be yourself, whoever that turns out to be. Because being yourself badly is infinitely better than being someone else perfectly.